What's up, guys? Welcome back to DCA. Today, what we're going to do is talk about the Fantom network. So, if you're new to this channel, what we do here is data analysis with a focus on long-term investing. So, what I've done is created a model for Fantom Network, which essentially acts as a risk assessment tool. So, what that means is, as this value, so you can see that this graph we have here below the Fantom price chart. As this value approaches zero, this historically has indicated that the market for that particular coin or token is likely approaching a bottom and often about to head in the opposite direction, which we saw, for instance, in March. When it reached into this lowest risk tier, which is 10 and below, the market then went on a massive move, going from about 0.002 cents all the way up to this point that we got to in September at right around 6.2 cents. Okay, so in terms of percentage gain, we were looking at a move which led to almost a 3,500% gain in just a few months. Okay, and you can see that the DCA index model would have indicated to you that this was likely nearing the bottom for this particular token. Now, this model is created using a machine learning algorithm. And basically what that means is that it attempts to identify these peaks and bottoms based on historical trends in the asset class. So it's looking for the optimized values that likely will reflect when the market for this particular coin or token is at the bottom or nearing a top. And often a top means, now remember that, and this is important, a top means a local top. It doesn't mean that it's the all time high for the entire market cycle. It indicates that it has moved up too fast, too quick, and is likely from there going to head back down. And you can see that when the DCA index indicated that we were at a top here in about February 25th, from there over the next several months, Fantom Network went down 82%. So if you were using something like this, you could have got out of the market for Fantom as it went down and bled 82% over a period of, less than 5 months. And right now we're sitting right at around 45 on the DC8 risk index model. Okay. So basically what this means is when prices are above 50, that's when you will start selling small portions of the asset. So you sell a small amount from 50 to 60, a slightly larger amount from 60 to 70, etc. So as you go up the scale, you start selling more and more, and then you get out of the asset when you're in the 90 to 100 range. All right. Vice versa, when you're in a bull market and you're moving down the scale, that's when you can start acquiring more of the asset. Now, importantly, if you're in a bear market, everything is going to be down in this level. It's significantly more risky to start acquiring tons of altcoins when you're just starting a bear market, let's say, because the altcoins will continue to bleed throughout the duration of the bear market. So that's just one caveat I want to point out. All right. So, with all that said, if you're interested in the DCA index risk model, you can head over to the Telegram channel. The model exists for various coins for Bitcoin, Solana, Cardano, Matic, Link, basically all of the largest altcoins, Ethereum, obviously. So you can sign up for it for free. You can get this trading view indicator and I'll send it out to you. So with that said, let's get into the analysis. Okay, guys, so here we're looking at Fantom USD. Now, I find Fantom to be a particularly interesting case as far as analysis goes. And this is because Fantom has actually given people second chances and third chances and fourth chances to acquire and still make massive gains. But with that, and typically when I say you get a second or third or fourth chance, what that means is that there's exceptionally high volatility. And that's saying something when you're saying that a coin is high volatility in the cryptocurrency asset class. So if we go back to September, when we hit this price peak at around what we mentioned before, somewhere right at around 6 cents, we actually went down in fairly short order. We went down almost 80%, okay, in the span of basically 2 months. So we went from this peak at around 6 cents all the way down to 1.2 cents. All right. From there, we went from 1.2 cents all the way up to about 89 cents in, again, just about 3 months. Okay. So this is when the DCA index risk model indicated that this coin is overheated and in need of a pullback. All right. So right at the end of February. Now, from that point, yet again, Fantom gave you another opportunity because it corrected down 80%. Okay. So we've so far seen in the span of less than a year an 80% correction down in just 2 months, then a 7,400% move to the upside in 3 or 4 months. And then we went from where we were at a high at 89 cents all the way back down to 15 cents for an 80% correction, again, in the span of about 4 to 5 months. Okay, so just these massive swings. And then again, once you were down here at around 15 cents, we went up to $3 and about 70 cents for another 2,200% move to the upside since basically since the end of July. Not a lot of coins have given you a first chance and then a second chance and then a third chance. And now, after all of that, from this point where we hit 360, Fantom has corrected as low as 70% yet again, now sitting at around, we're not quite that low anymore, but we are sitting at down around 55% from our high that we made only only about a month ago. Okay. So Fantom is a trader's dream at this point. I can't say that that will continue, but that's what we're looking at so far. All right. Now, if we remove all of these, the thing I want to show you is, in spite of the massive moves to the downside, the massive moves to the upside, we have been in essentially a macro level uptrend that has only increased as the market cycle has continued. So you can see that as of March, we were moving along this trend line, basically, more or less. We were moving along this trend line. And then when things really got kicked off at the start of the year, so right around January 1st, we have been going parabolic with massive moves to the upside and massive swings down to the downside. So this is just a basic USD analysis. But in my opinion, when you're looking at the altcoins, the way you need to value them is not with relation to their USD value, because as a bull run continues, everything is going to move up. Okay, so it's a very little overall value to ask yourself, what is the relation to USD? Because everything's going up. You want to know, how much is it going up with respect to other coins and tokens, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins. This will tell you overall how strong of a performer it is and maybe what you can expect going forward. Okay, guys, so this is Fantom with relation to Bitcoin. So if you're not used to looking at these charts, what this is telling you is basically when this chart is moving up, it means Fantom is outperforming Bitcoin. When it's moving down, like we saw from the end of September through the beginning of the year, that means Bitcoin is outperforming Fantom. Okay. Now, notice that basically since the beginning of the year, right around so actually on January 3rd, we started moving up with relation to Bitcoin. And just like just like the move with respect to the US dollar, it's been this massive move to the upside, 3,600% against Bitcoin, followed by a general downward swing until we hit this trend line and bounced off of it again. And now we have come back down and are sitting right above the trend line. In fact, we've held it as support. Coincidentally, that is Fantom's 20-week moving average. Okay, so Fantom is right at this macro level uptrend that we have been on since the beginning of the year. All right. Now, what this means is that if you suspect that Bitcoin will move up over time and Fantom continues this trend, particularly if it moves along this trend line, if you suspect that Fantom will continue to outperform Bitcoin, which I do if Bitcoin continues to move up, then we will see actually new highs against Bitcoin as time goes on, which is interesting because a lot of coins and tokens are not near their all-time high against Bitcoin at the moment, in spite of Bitcoin going on a major slide as of recently. Now, with that said, if Bitcoin turns around and plummets, Fantom will likewise likely slide against Bitcoin. And let me show you this. So on the 4th, when Bitcoin turned around and went down nearly 10K in a single day, Fantom at its lowest point was down about 30% in a single day. As if we go back to the USD chart, remember on May the 15th, Bitcoin went below its 20-week moving average. So from that day, Fantom was down around 80%. Okay. So what this means is Fantom is highly volatile with respect to Bitcoin's basically standing in the market. If Bitcoin is getting hammered, Fantom is going to get hammered twice as hard, if not more. All right. And I'm going to show you further examples of this going forward. But at the same time, if Bitcoin is doing well, Fantom is typically doing very well. Okay. So Fantom has made all of these massive moves when Bitcoin has been showing strength. And when Bitcoin is showing weakness, Fantom has showed even more weakness. So if we look basically since May, if you want to measure the move against Bitcoin, Fantom was down 72% against Bitcoin. All right. Then basically since the end of October, Bitcoin has not been doing very well, and Fantom has lost around 55% with relation to Bitcoin. So Fantom is actually one of the strongest examples of a coin that when crypto is doing well, Fantom is doing exceptionally well. In fact, better than almost everything else. When crypto is doing poorly, Fantom does worse than everything else. And let me show you that here. Okay, guys, so this chart here that I'm showing you is basically Fantom USD in relation to numerous other top altcoins, including Cardano, Ethereum, Matic, Bitcoin's included on the list, Solana, Link, and Polkadot. Now, this chart exemplifies the duality of the Fantom coin better than any other, in my opinion. So they're all starting at 0%. Okay, so they all start at 0%, but we're looking at these coins from the time the market crashed. Notice Fantom in green and red is below everything else. Fantom got hit harder than every single other coin as of the second or third week of May. So it was down almost 80% from that time. Every other coin, on the other hand, was down. In fact, other coins, so Polkadot was getting hit almost just as hard, 70%. Matic was down 70%. So we had Solana down 55, Bitcoin was down 26 only at this point, Ethereum 44, and Cardano 42. But Fantom was down significantly more than every other coin. But there is, a good side to this story. So in spite of being down more than every other coin, let's look from the time that the market turned around. Fantom basically annihilated every other coin during the recovery, even Solana. Okay. And Solana, was outperforming almost everything. So you have this situation where Fantom is extraordinarily receptive to the overall market. When the market is good, Fantom is amazing. When the market is bad, Fantom performs absolutely terribly. And then we can continue that. So let's look at Fantom from the time that the market sort of has entered into this slowdown phase that we've hit basically since the beginning of November. And Fantom yet again has performed worse than everything else. So when the market is going good, I can't say it enough. Fantom is outperforming everything bar none. When the market is bad, Fantom is correcting more than everything. Okay. So, this is something you need to consider when you're investing in this coin. If you're a momentum trader or a swing trader and you think that the market is about to turn around and head up, Fantom may be the thing that you want to look at first. On the other hand, if you think that we are entering into a bear phase of the market, Fantom can get you absolutely crushed. With that said, all of the altcoins will eventually get you crushed if we enter into a bear market. Even the blue chips like Bitcoin and Ethereum will get you crushed, but to a much lesser degree. Okay, guys, so this is how we're going to come up with some sort of framework for analyzing the price of Fantom going forward should the bear market start or the bull market continue. What we're doing here is we're looking at various prices of Bitcoin. So $30,000, $50,000, $75,000, and $100,000. At this point, given the downturn that we've seen and just the inability for Bitcoin to go on any sort of serious move, talking about prices like $150,000, $200,000 for Bitcoin is just not even worth it at this time. If we start moving up, then we can start reassessing this value and sort of reassessing where things might be able to get to. But at the moment, we're going to work with this framework. So we're looking at the low that we hit in July of around $30,000. We're looking at $50,000, which is where we're currently at, plus or minus. Then we're looking at $75,000, which would be a nice move to the upside, and $100,000, which would be essentially a 2x for Bitcoin. All right. We're multiplying that by various Fantom to BTC valuations. So we're not just arbitrarily picking numbers. This is where we're currently at with Fantom to BTC, right at around 3.2, 3.3. Now, we've picked other numbers based on what we've seen in the past. So our all-time high of around 5.9. We also have 1.3, which this is where we were at previously in the prior stages of the bull run. So back in basically May before the crash and back in February. So we also have 0.5, which is where we bottomed out at in the smaller bear market that we saw, or the downturn when Bitcoin fell below its 20-week moving average. So basically where we were at in July and August. All right. Now on the upside, we have our all-time high at 5.9, and we're picking non-arbitrary numbers to assess for the potential upside. And how we're going to do this is by looking, well, what were our prior all-time high to all-time high? And so back in September, we made a local high of around, so we were right at this 0.5 that we talked about. So we went up all the way up 230% from that level up to this, point or 1.6 level. So we did that from September of 2020 through May of 2021. Now we made another move. So that was about 230%. And that's important here. We made another move from basically February or May up to where we were at in October. And that was another about 200 or so percent move. So this one was about 290%. So if we were to continue going up and Bitcoin were to continue showing strength, the market continue to show strength, let's just presume, because we don't know, because it's new all-time highs and everything is uncharted territory. So let's presume we make a move at best, like we saw these two prior moves. Okay. So that would give us right here at around 0.0002. Okay. Now we'll also look at a number in between there saying that we don't get all the way up to that value. So that's a value of 0.0001. So only about half of our prior moves. So this would be about 125% move if we got to 0.0001 against Bitcoin. So then that gives us these range of values depending on where you think the price of Bitcoin is going. Now, I'll just tell you that for us to really realistically get to these higher values of 0.0001 and 2, we're going to need to move at least back up into the 60,000s. If we're just sitting along, moving sideways or moving down, we've already shown in the past what Fantom does when the market is showing weakness, and that is Fantom gets hammered compared to everything else. Conversely, if the market is showing strength, we've shown Fantom destroys everything else. So let's say that we do sometime in 2022, possibly in December, although I feel it's less likely that we make any sort of massive move in December. I feel like it's more likely to come in some point in 2022. Let's say we move up to these levels. Well, then we're going to be looking at reaching our all-time high, and given Fantom's history, likely making a parabolic move into these valuations right here. Okay. So that would give you potentially, depending on how well the overall market can do, then you're looking at somewhere between a 750 and, if it did happen to stall out at around this level, a $20 Fantom. Now remember, we have a $1.67 Fantom right now with a $4.2 billion market cap. So what this is basically saying, if we got to a $20 Fantom, that would be about a 11x move from where we're at right now. So you can look at our market cap and then say that that would put us somewhere at around more or less 45 billion US dollars. And you have to ask yourself, is that a reasonable number to get to? In my opinion, that's a very reasonable number to get to. Fantom is currently right at around 40th in the standings of cryptocurrency value. That if you were to get to 45 billion, that's going to put you somewhere in the top 10. But you have to remember, if Bitcoin is moving up like this, likely other things are moving up as well. So it might not even get you to the top 10. So what I'm saying is 45 billion is, for all intents and purposes, a very reasonable number for any of the top cryptocurrencies to get to if the market is, continuing to show strength. Now, let's say that we don't show so much strength and we get somewhere between the 50 to 75,000. Well, that's still a move up, and Fantom typically shows strength when the market's showing strength. And so if we can move back up to 60, maybe even 70,000, then you could very easily be looking at getting easily to the prior all-time high. I think without a doubt, you get to the prior all-time high. So, somewhere between $3 to $4.50, I think that's probably on the lower end. And, if you've watched my channel before, I tend to be very conservative. I don't go for the lofty, pie in the sky type valuations. So what I'm saying here is I tend to think that even if we only get back to these numbers in this market cycle, the $5 to $15 Fantom FTM is completely within the realm of possibility. Now, on the other side, if we start moving down, if we start moving towards $30,000, you are definitely very likely going to be looking at these lower valuations. So remember, this is where we're sitting currently. We're at about 166 or so. So if we start moving down, you're going to likely, based on all prior history, you're probably going to be looking at, a significant drop in value. Like we've said, when the overall market is entering into a bear market, Fantom gets absolutely hammered. And please save the comments. I understand people get emotional about these coins. Nothing fundamentally has changed in the last 2 months that is going to prevent it from absolutely tanking like it has in the past. Okay. I could be wrong about that, and that's fine. If that's your opinion, that's fine. But we use data here. So if you don't like what I'm saying, I'm sorry, but I'm only assessing the data that's available. And I'm just telling you, nothing has fundamentally changed so significantly in the last month or 2 months that would prevent Fantom from displaying the exact behavior that has displayed every single time there's been a downturn. Okay. Basically, what we're saying is Fantom has massive, massive upside potential, but unfortunately, it also has massive downside volatility that will likely occur if we enter into a bear market. So, this is just a framework for assessing the currency. I think huge possible gains are still to be made in Fantom, especially if the market cycle continues. However, you can also get wrecked if we start going down. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. If you guys like this type of content, hit like and subscribe. You can head over to the Telegram channel and sign up for the DCA index risk model. I will send you the trading view indicator. And until next time, as usual, see you.